Welcome back, everyone. In today's episode of our Moana Waterpark series, we're diving into the delicious details of designing a realistic Polynesian themed food court. From crafting custom assets like a soda dispenser and a pizza stone oven, we're also adding 5 brand new shops to the park. So stick around as we blend practicality with beautiful theming to keep that Moana-inspired vibe alive. Let's check it out. Alright, welcome back everyone and Happy New Year, and I am happy to be back with some more content for y'all. So in today's video, as you saw in the introduction, we are doing a food court. This food court will be heavily Polynesian inspired, of course, and we're gonna try implement a few Moana things into this build here by, for example, giving some of these shops some cool names and all that jazz. But as you can see here right now in the background, we are starting to make our own thatch roof. And as you saw in one of my custom roof tutorial, you can use these hay stacks here, hay bales, to do some very nice thatch roof. But anyways, what I'm doing here, as you can see, is that I'm doing this specific kind of roof shape that kind of like goes in a little bent half circle and surrounds all the way this little area here. And as you can see, I'm kind of like fast forwarding a lot here, and I'm also skipping some bits so you guys don't see me do this whole progress here and just see the nips and bits of all of it to just make it clear on how this is supposedly working. But as you can see here, we are moving it in this way where it has like this super nice bend and shape to it, and it's not 100% like, it doesn't have to be natural at all. Nothing in nature is natural in that way. So we kind of like need to have this sort of little bend and not all these straight elements and stuff. And as you saw, I kind of like have it between the entrance and our Kakamora twirl flat ride. So in this way, we are already connecting this sort of little main street, which is super awesome, and it always gives this super nice overlook of things when you get this far into the park, of having like all these elements connecting together and being just a really cool part of it all in a total. But we are still working a lot on the roof here. As you can see, it's a lot about having this sort of patience when it comes to this, and I had this idea in mind for a long time before I actually wanted to build it, because I kind of wanted to see, the further in I got into the game, like knowing the pieces and stuff, is it possible to go this super creative way with making thatch roofs with these hay bale pieces here. And the more you actually add the others, kind of like mix and match it together and like give it that color that the others have, I don't feel like it's super off. Actually, I think it actually works very well. And my whole point here with making this was making this nice area where everyone can meet up and they can eat their food and have a good time. But also the style of it was mainly to have it like this, like where you have this, like as I said in the start, this bend, nice little shape all the way around this roof here, and kind of like making it feel like it's very Polynesian, and also with the color schemes we add further on. So a lot of it takes a little bit of time to practice and like figuring it all out, but when you actually get there, it's super nice. And that's kind of like what I like about making custom roofs, because they just look so much better, honestly. They just do. So, but yeah, the Polynesian theme is kind of like what I'm going for here, as you can see. And I wanted to have like these sort of little roof extensions on the top there that kind of like make it look a little bit nice and more finished, you know. So I felt like that was a super nice call there. I was not really on this specific build here, I didn't really use any inspiration or references. This was mainly just something I kind of like created in my mind, and the execution of it kind of like turned out very well. So I'm super happy for that. But I obviously took some inspiration from some pictures I saw, but nothing in this way at all. Like it's mainly just like colors and like the clutter pieces and how like a food court kind of looks and acts in a theme park for the guests and the audience. So yeah, that was really a cool progress of adding all this and like figuring out the stuff and what could I do. But yeah, this whole build is kind of like what you say, like free drawn almost, like it's kind of like that I wanted to. So as you can see, adding in 5 cool shops here, or counters at least. And the one is the sushi, it's the pizza pen, it's the Viva la Vegan, I think. And then we are putting in some milkshakes, and then it's a soda. And we're gonna make something very cool for that soda shop later on in the video here. But in any case, as you can see, I added these pillars here, and I was like, okay, I got the colors, but that pink was kind of like, it was just too, like, it was just screaming too much. So I kind of like wanted to fade it out and just give it like this, these 2 blue and green color here. And that was mainly something I asked, again, as I said last time, like, I've never been good at colors. And that's just a thing. I'm just like super good at finding those colors that really pop. And so I asked ChatGPT to like give me some colors, a good color combination in a Polynesian kind of theme that fits the Moana. And it gave me these sort of little colors I could play around with here. And it really, really works, guys. It works so good. So to go back to the custom roofing here, as you can see, I am doing my own little trim work here, and I kind of like make it look like it's a little bit more finished and has like this sort of nice woodwork on the top here. And that's sometimes some things like it also adds so much to it as well. And I can only recommend you to add your own little trims here and there, because it really looks great when you get there and have it all completely done. But as you can see, we're pretty close to the Kakamora twirl, which is awesome, and it really combines these areas together nicely. We are adding in some wall here, like kind of like just making it all look nice now, to kind of like see what can I do, and then afterwards we are slowly designing it and detailing it the further in we go with the build. As you can see, I skip through a process, so you don't get to see me do it all the way around, because it's just kind of like, you know, it's just kind of boring. So we're just keeping it very fast and to what it is we want to do. So adding in some more fencing here and kind of like making sure that it's all enclosed together nicely. And then we're just kind of like doing a few things here and there before we actually start on the basic of the food court here. As you can see, I kind of wanted to add a little bit extra of where people have to walk in. So that's kind of like what I did there, and adding in some benches. I think we add 5 benches each way here, and then we add some on the outside of the food court too. But yes, so we're going into the little bit more of a smaller detailing here, and there's these resort wall decorations here that I'm using, and this Planet Coaster fence to kind of like a little baller kind of thing to where the people can queue up and get their food. Since this is supposedly a food court, it's supposed to be like a place where there's like, you can see what it is you're going to get, and there's a few places you can go and eat your food. So if you want to eat something from there and your friend want to eat there, you can just do that, and you can still meet up on a bench and eat your food there. So I was trying something with the glass panels too, because I thought these were kind of fun to kind of like put them all the way around these shops here to kind of like fill them enclosed and stuff, so people can't jump the counter and maybe they can look in and see what's happening in there and stuff. And that's kind of like what the fuss is all about, and I like that, because we kind of like add that to all of the shops all the way around. But now comes the fun part, the thing that I have actually been most excited to share with y'all. This is the soda dispenser, and thanks to the support pieces in the game, that goes down to like 10% in the scaling. This was only doable because of that. As you can see, I'm using this little resort wall decoration. It usually has flowers on, but this is the smallest plaster piece there is in the game, and the thinnest too, but it really works well, and I've been using that pretty much that piece instead of an actual plaster piece, because they're just way better and they just work a lot better too. So, but yeah, we're trimming it up again here with some support beams again that we can make incredibly small, which is amazing. And then we're kind of like just going with it. Like, I didn't really know what I could do first. I just wanted to make a soda dispenser, so I just looked up on Google really quick, like got some you know, basic soda dispensers up on the screen, looked at them, studied them a bit, and I was like, okay, so we just kind of like have a few things of this and that, and then we just gotta work it out and figure out a way to put that last thing on. So that's basically what I did here. So it's a lot of the support pieces that I'm using, honestly. Like, I use a ton of support pieces on this little build here. And afterwards I am using, as you can see, this is a fun little thing, I'm using the edible text sign, and then I'm adding like a big eye, and this is like the one where you push it, and then obviously the soda and all that stuff comes down. And I thought that was a super clever idea, and I was like, okay, when I have this, I'm pretty sure this soda dispenser is good to go now, because that was mainly my biggest, like, you know, how do I get around this? How do I do that? So it took some time. Like, I kind of skipped a few parts here in the video, but when I kind of like had that, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. So yeah, sometimes like even the sign you can edit. If you do right, you can use those pieces for some pretty good things. You even saw me using them in the previous video where we did some of the face painting on the Kakamoras. So if you kind of like think out of the box with that, you can really use that piece to something very, very good as well. And then afterwards, I'm just adding in some vents at the bottom for kind of like being like the grid where all the waste can kind of like go in and don't overspill and stuff. And then that is pretty much the soda dispenser I do, guys. It should be on the workshop right now with a little pack, as I said, like the food court asset pack with all the stuff I'm kind of building today. That will be in that pack like this. I'm doing a fridge. I'm doing a little condiment dispenser as well. I'm doing a stone oven as well. So there's a lot of things in this little pack that you can get if you wanna try create your own little food court, which I can totally recommend. Is a fun little thing for adding into your theme parks or water parks. So the question is, do we want more food courts in this park? We do not. And since this is like in the start of the park, we are going to add something in the back, but we're only now just gonna make like a few stands, maybe one on the left and one on the right, where we put in like a soda and some burgers or something like that. And then we're kind of like just gonna wing it after that. So when we're kind of like over this little section here, we are going into and adding in some signage. And some of these have some amazing names that I felt like was kind of fun to do that, you know, like, because it really gives something extra nice if there is some cool little names for all these shops that we are doing. So I felt like we needed something that was like, you know, we needed something that was in that mood of being relatable to Moana and like having some good puns and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, if the sushi stand, let's just say like that's like Ocean's Bounty, because it's a lot about the water and the ocean and all that stuff in Moana. So I felt like since it's sushi related, we should just call it Ocean's Bounty. And I don't do much things behind here in the back. There's a lot of stuff that I've just avoided to do because I was like, otherwise I just can keep on going here and I will probably never finish with this food court because I wanted it to be so perfected. So, and maybe we can always just go back and I can always redo some stuff or work on some more stuff in the interior wise in the back of all these shops here. I do try to like just get them some sort of a nice little backdrop so it's not completely boring with this brown bamboo that kind of like just fades in the background a bit. So the next one is a Tala's fire oven, and I thought that was kind of fun too because it's also kind of related to Moana. And this one I'm doing a little bit more stuff too, but I will go back to that later on. So as you can see, we're adding in a few signage and stuff around here, and this is the one that I felt like was fun, and this was gonna call it the Village Feast. The Village Feast, so that's kind of like here where supposedly you're supposed to meet and all that stuff. And the only thing why I tried to have this like super nice round edge around here was kind of like to resemble the style of the Polynesian, where it's like this super nice shaping they got on their housing and architecture, on their villages and their thatch huts and stuff, as you saw me do in the entrance build too, where there's like these super nice round shapes into it. So that's always something we can do, and I find that super funny. And the others, we have Cool Tides Cafe, which is the milkshake, and then we obviously have the Swirl of the Sea. No, that's the opposite. Sorry, Swirl of the Sea is the milkshake one, and the Cool Tides Cafe, it's the soda. So, but again, as you can see here in the background, I'm doing some more assets for the food court, and we're doing a little trash can here. And this was supposedly to be like one of those, you know, you have at where the stank and all that gets the way there, because sometimes hot places, like humid places and stuff, you have all these bugs, and you don't want that to interfere with your food court and stuff. So it's always good to have closed trash cans around that. So that's why I kind of like wanted to build those, and I actually add in a functioning trash can inside of this, so the people will actually throw their garbage and trash in there, which is kind of like a cool little thing too, right? So the vegan spot here, as you saw, was the Island Harvest, which I also thought was kind of a cool little name. And yeah, if you guys like these names, let me hear in the comments down below which one is your absolute favorite. So here I kind of like cut a little bit more out, and honestly I just forgot to record this little bit here, so I kept this little thing in. And here I'm making this refrigerator that has like this, has some juices, some apples, and then I'm just trying to like make some sort of drink compartments or something like that could be in there. And then I'm placing a few of these a little bit over the top here, in the back and everywhere, to kind of like just make it feel like there's something happening in there, you know. And then we are moving over to the stone oven. See, the stone oven was something I was very excited to build, and I actually super fan of how this oven turned out. I even make custom pizzas. I make some pizza boxes too to go with it, and everything is just super nice for this. And yeah, I'm a big fan of it all, and I think it's super fun to do your own things like this, and especially when you have to like implement them into your own little shops and stuff. So yeah, it's really fun, and I liked really how this turned out. And as I say, this one also is included in my asset little blueprint pack that I put up, where you will have all these small little things that I'm building here. They will all be there for you to grab. So if that is something you want and you want to give your own go at some food courts, well, you have them right there to your use. So super perfect, guys. I am very happy for how this turned out. And as you can see, we're building up in the little back here, and then I'm trying to find something that can go for a pizza, and I think this kind of works, this little basic shape here. So yeah, super nice. And again, I'm using the text sign and adding a little bit. I know this is like super detailing, and no one really are gonna like check this out more or less, but I just kind of like it, you know. And then we obviously need the pizza shovel here to kind of like move the pizzas around and stuff. And then I was fiddling around with some fire, trying to see if I could add in some of this extra stuff here to kind of like make it look nice. And I kind of did. So yeah, I'm kind of happy for this. It turned out pretty well. So yeah, so we're just finishing off this bit here of the pizza spot, and then we are moving over to another bit of it. But here I'm also just like doing some pizza boxes, and I'm just using the basic shapes to make these pretty much, and that's all what it is. I obviously, because of the scaling, I can make them small and I can make them big, so I just make them a little bit of a different size. And afterwards I'm just polishing up the counter for the shop here, and adding a little bit more of those boxes too, to get a little bit more clutter and aesthetic to the shop facade. And as I said, we have built glass all the way around them, so it feels like, you know, like actual food court kind of thing, and it really opens up the whole place here. And that was Tala's fire oven. That is the second food court shop. So we're doing the sign for the soda, which is Cool Tides, and here I'm basically just using the rope again as I did, and then adding the last pieces of drapes. Actually, I'm starting to use the drapes as sort of a bonding kind of piece, and they work really well for that. And that is the Greek mythology theme that you find these pieces in. So going back down to the little midsection, I'm using the moving rotation arm to make a fan in the ceiling. And this one is also included in the asset blueprint pack that I'm sending out with this little video here. So as I say, you will eventually now have the soda dispenser, the trash cans, the fan, and the fridge, and then now the last thing here, the condiment stand, which is quite the same as the bin, but also mixed with the soda dispenser pieces. So we kind of like get this sort of squeaky thing you can hear, where you can like get mustard or ketchup, all those things you get at a food court. And you can see it's basically the same pieces, support pieces that we get. And why I use those was again because they could become down to 10% in the scaling measurements. And that is some of the tiniest pieces you will eventually get in this game with the scaling. So I can only recommend to get those into your building mindset, because they're really good for this sort of building when you have to use smaller pieces for that. So but I'm actually just decorating the last bits here with the bamboo pieces, and then we are just finishing up some stuff and making it look pretty and nice. And then we are moving over to the last bits here, where we are adding in this little tray. When they walk with the trays of these food courts, you can kind of like make sure that there's this little griddle for it, and that's also what we have added some of the places for it to give it that realistic feel. So of course we need a little bit of foliage, so that's what I'm doing here with this flower bed, and I'm putting it on the side here as well, so we kind of like get it nicely done. Afterwards, we're putting up some signage. We are putting in this little condiment sign, and then we are going over and adding of each shop where you can order. And then we are sort of kind of like done with this build today. We got a lot done, I would say so, and it was pretty tough to get started here, because as I said, I only had like this sort of vision of how I wanted the building to be, kind of like this little half circle, and then have this sort of super nice interaction center for all the guests. And it's very important when you build all these things, you include all these things in a food court build. So yeah, we're extending it a little bit towards the Kakamora twirl here, just to building them towards the rocks. So this little build here fades in with the other one, and we just have a nice little clear transition. And this is what I meant when I said that I was adding a little bit more sitting areas for our guests. But pretty much that is what it is. And that wraps up our Polynesian food court build. I hope you enjoy seeing the attention to detail that goes into crafting these spaces, whether it's the custom soda dispenser or the overall theming that ties everything together. If you loved this episode, don't forget to leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. What should we add to our Moana Park next? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye!